Hi everyone, I am Ronel Ragudu, a BSN2 Social Studies student, and I am your reporter for today. Please relax as I present to you my topic, Learners with Additional. A. Learners who are gifted and talented. B. Learners with difficulty of seeing. C. Learners with difficulty of hearing. Let's start. Learners who are gifted and talented. Definition. The idea of multiple intelligences leads to new ways of thinking about students who have special gifts and talents. Traditionally, the term gifted referred only to the students with unusually high verbal skills. The skills were demonstrated especially well, for example, on the standardized test of general ability or of school achievement. So these students are the students who excel and uh, who shows unusual talents inside the classroom. Identification. Given in the need to identify gifted students, here are some general behavioral traits that students exhibit that can help teachers pinpoint a gifted student. 1. Curious and motivated. 2. Asks many questions. Has a good memory. Quickly retains information, masters reading skills early, demonstrates strong math skills, thinks independently, expresses unique original opinions, possesses higher level of thinking skills, including analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and problem solving skills, has a strong sense of justice and likes to debate current issues and real life problems. At the same time, gifted students may also possess the following traits that can negatively affect learning and their needs are not met. Here are some characteristics of students who are gifted and talented. Number one, easily goes off task or off topic. Impatient when not called upon in class. Resist repetitive work. Takes on too much work. Does not work well with groups. Critical of others and themselves. Keen powers of observation. Learn or read very early, often before school age. Wow. Well-developed vocabulary takes delight in using unusual and new words. Has a great intellectual curiosity, very good memory, can recall information in different circumstances, very good powers of reasoning and problem solving, have intense interests, possesses unusual imagination, uh, have a great interest in big questions, very concerned about rights and wrongs, concerned about injustice. General educational adaptations. So, students who are gifted and talented, teachers should provide more challenging reading materials, focus on overall trends, patterns, and themes rather than small details and facts. Study problems that do not have a clear solution. Use topics of interest to the students relevant to how the world works, complex and worthwhile. Allow for flexible groupings of students, individual, pair, or small groups. Next, students with difficulty of seeing. Definition. Visual impairment is any visual condition that impacts an individual's ability to complete the activities of everyday life. Students with visual impairments are infants, toddlers, children with youths who experience impairments of the visual system that impact their ability to learn. The identification of the students with visual impairment or difficulty of seeing. To implement appropriate classroom accommodation for students with visual impairment, these students are also classified according to their level of functional vision. First is low vision, or students use their vision as their primary sensory channel. Functionally blind, students can use limited vision for functional tasks but need their tactile and auditory channels for learning. Then another one is totally blind. Students use tactile and auditory channels for learning and functional tasks. Third, classification systems exist is based on the advent of the visual impairment itself. First is congenital, occurs during the fetal development at birth or immediately following birth. Visual impairment is present before visual memory has been established. Next is adventitious, occurs after having normal visions either through a hereditary condition or trauma, or visual memory may remain. Students with congenital visual impairment typically have more difficulty of mastering visual strength concepts such as spatial orientation and many environment concepts. Here are some characteristics of students with difficulty of seeing. First is not looking at the others in the eyes. Next, reaching in front or of beyond an object. Another, holding objects very close or very far to see them. So there are conditions. It can be far-sighted or near-sighted. That's also a type of eye condition. Then continuously pushing or poking his eyes. Looking above, below, or off one side of an object rather than directly at it. Bumping into other objects and having a lot of trouble seeing at night. Feeling for objects in the ground instead of looking with their eyes. General educational adaptations of students who with difficulty of seeing. It is through sight that much of what we learn is received and processed. It is believed that up to 80% of what children without visual impairments learn is through visual cues. The other senses do not fully compensate for the loss of sight. Touch and hearing can be ineffective subtitles for many individuals. There are techniques in order to help these students accumulate learning. First is illumination. The photo. Some children with low vision are very sensitive to light and glare. Teachers should control the light in the classroom when possible using curtains, maintaining an even amount of light throughout the room, sitting the child with back to windows, reducing the glare on surfaces, and suggesting that the child wear a hat or visors or sunglasses even when staying indoors. Another technique is color and contrast. As you can see in the photo, the black and white, so the white isn't at the middle, so it is used to disregard all the unimportant details. So in the white paper, it was only stated the important details, so it is where the student would focus and read. So students may also need a typoscope when reading. This is a reading shield that it can be made of a black material or a cardboard in which there is a rectangular cutout allowing one or more lines of printed to be seen. So to reduce the visual clutter in the classroom, educators should remove useless objects in general, reduce the number of objects in intermediate working area, use masking tape to improve the color or contrast in door frames, tabletops, and etc. Highlighters can be used. It can be used as also considered as a part of color and contrast. Then spotlights and highlights particular area. Maintain the place and all the school supplies when organized so that students can easily identify them. If possible, if all of that will be followed, when educator put the above recommendation in place, they offer the students opportunities for more active interaction while motivating them to use their vision in a more efficient way. Presenting meaningful activities using age-appropriate materials and offering clear information through repetitive routines will always be appreciated by children with low vision. Letter C. Students or learners with difficulty of hearing. Definition. Hearing impairment is defined by IDEA as an impairment in hearing, whether permanent or fluctuating, that adversely affects a child's educational performance. Deafness is defined as hearing impairment that is so severe that the child is impaired in processing linguistic information through hearing with or without amplification. So usually students or a man who have problems in ears or totally deaf, they usually they couldn't talk, so they use sign language um, to communicate. Identification of hearing impairment. Impairment in hearing can occur in either or both areas. It may exist in only one ear or in both ears. Generally, only children whose hearing loss is greater than 90 decibels are considered deaf. It can be acquired, meaning that the loss occurred during after birth due to illness or injury, or congenital, meaning that the hearing loss or deafness was present at birth. Next, characteristics of students with difficulty of hearing. First, does not respond consistently to sounds. Then ask for things to be repeated, or often says ha, ha. But usually, sometimes as humans, we sometimes didn't hear it clearly, so we say ha. But in the case of students who have hearing impairments, that is different. Third is delayed in developing speech or has unclear speeches. Students or children age ranging 3 to 4 then unable to completely speak. That is one sign that a student or a child has difficulties of hearing or hearing impairment. Then fourth is turns the volume up loud in the TV and other electronic devices. Usually children or students who are difficulty of hearing usually puts the sound or needs a more volume in order to hear and respond. General educational adaptations to students with hearing impairment or difficulty of hearing. Regular speech, language, and auditory training from a specialist. Amplification system, a service of an interpreter for those students who use sign language who are totally deaf. Then favorable sitting in the class to facilitate lip reading. Then caption, film or videos, assistant of note taker who takes note for the students with a hearing loss so that the student can fully attend to instruction. Then instruction for teacher and peers in alternate communication methods such as sign language and counseling. Let us just remember that children who have difficulty of hearing will find it more difficult than children who have normal hearing to learn vocabulary, grammar, word order, idiomatic expression, and other aspects of verbal communication. For children who are deaf or have severe hearing losses, early, consistent, and conscious use of visible communication modes such as sign language, finger spelling, and other cued speech helped. Thank you. And that is all for my report for today. Hope you've enjoyed and learned something about my topic, and hope soon we encounter these several types of students. Hope that we will respect and give priority to them. So this is Ronel Argudo once again. Thank you.